Welcome, everybody, to Roofer Reflections. I am not Tats Nakagawa. Don't try to adjust your dials. I am your guest host, Jef McCurdy of Castagra Products. And I want to first start by thanking Tats for the opportunity to guest host today and for letting me have such a tremendous guest while I'm guest hosting today. With that said, I'd like to introduce you to Ty Johnson of TrueWorks Roofing. So one thing that I want to start with is congratulating you and the team at TrueWorks. I know you've had some awards already this year. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, we've had a couple this year. Our most recent one was with HCRAC for Residential Project of the Year. The team is extremely happy about that. It's a beautiful diamond plaque. And it's just a little confidence walking around the city with that, Nice. Like it gives us the opportunity to really stand alone, and have something to reference our work back to. The one that I'm most proud of is the inaugural award with you guys, Castagra, for Contractor of the Year. I haven't been with the team very long, but I've been on all the projects, and I really have taken the opportunity to learn as much as I can about the product and to apply it safely, quickly, and to bring my team along fast. We love using it. I've had nothing but wonderful reviews using it. And with a product that easy, it's not very hard to win Contractor of the Year.
So I'd like to start by going back in time a little bit, if you don't mind. I know you had an upbringing that used to be common in this country, but really isn't anymore. Can you tell us about growing up?
Yeah, man. I grew up on a dairy farm in Nacogdoches, Texas. Actually, not in Nacogdoches, Texas. Right outside of Nacogdoches, Texas, called Mall or Central Heights or Redland. There's a lot of different names for it, but the Johnsons come from Redland. That's
okay.
Where we're from, and we come from dairy cows. So it was an interesting childhood. It was labor intensive.
Is that where your incredible work ethic comes from? Is growing up on the farm and always having a job?
Yeah, I mean, just like seeing my grandparents work that hard really just gave me just an incredible work ethic. I couldn't. I just don't know how to rest. It's to a fault at times.
Nice. Well, I'm sure the team appreciates it at TrueWorks, though.
Yeah, man, we're trying, man. We're trying to get everybody on the same page and try to get everybody as motivated and as enthusiastic about it as I am, for sure.
Nice. So from growing up on a farm, how did you make the transition then into roofing? How was that career?
Well, I lived in Nacogdoches until I was 17. I just turned 18. I moved to Houston. I'd never been in a big city before. I didn't have a job. I didn't know anything about the world at all, essentially. So I started off waiting tables. I worked at Papacitos, which also, let me tell you, if you have any young children and you want them to learn like a wonderful like structure, discipline from like a customer service standpoint, there's no better place to start than Papacitos. Just let me tell you. I was there for 4 years, and that's what really got me rooted into customer service. And so I guess it was more of I guess I've been more driven by that, by customer service more than anything else, which was also ultimately drove me into roofing after I got out of the restaurant industry. I was fortunate enough at a young age to have a pretty nice position with a nightclub. And so I was able to take my experience from Papacitos and all that knowledge, and I transitioned into a nightclub for about 10 years. Once that was over, I just wanted to work with my hands. I just wanted to get back to it. I just wanted to get back to the dirt. Honestly, I didn't feel strong. Like I was working out and I was doing stuff like that, but I didn't feel strong mentally, and I didn't feel like I was being challenged enough. I mean, it's nightclubs are organized chaos, and if you take yourself out of, if you remove yourself from the party element, it's almost like watching an anthill. Like there's so many different things going on, so many different aspects on running a successful, nightclub. And so I just took all that customer service and all that experience, and I moved back to Nacogdoches.
Oh.
And I started working with a home remodeler. He had a guy named Jesse Bates. He has a He has a family home construction business for about 50 years in Garrison, Texas, which is right outside of Nacogdoches. And so I spent 2 years with him and my best friend, Bobby Fisher, side by side, learning the ins and outs of how to frame a building, you know, how to remodel kitchens, bathrooms, all of the country technical stuff that I could get into, you know, all of the other ways to do things besides, you know, the right way, you know. You know, you learn that there's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat, you know. And so after 2 years of that, I decided to move back to Houston. You know, I felt pretty good, felt grounded. I was fortunate enough to get hired with Simon Roofing out of Youngstown, Ohio. I was with them for 2 years. Started off as just labor, you know, straight up grunt, like go get those, you know, straight up. I was a gopher, you know. I didn't get a chance to actually learn anything mechanical or cut anything until about a month into it. And then I started doing all the cuts for the ISO. You know, that's where they like to start you off at, was, you know, cutting. So started cutting, got my measurements right. They saw that I was probably not being utilized in the best way, you know.
This farm boy's got a work ethic. We could move him up, huh?
Being from the country, you know, being college educated, they really didn't know what to do with me, you know. So after about 2 months, I got moved up pretty quickly and got into a superintendent position and was able to start running some jobs. That just reignited the passion for customer service, you know, being able to shake hands with people and being able to really build relationships. I think that was one of the most important things when I moved to Chamberlain that I expressed to them, you know, is I really wanted to be more involved.
You mentioned being college educated. One thing that I've noticed about you is, as we've gotten to know each other, is you never really stop learning, do you? You're always on every seminar. You're kind of everywhere that there's an opportunity. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna hop on one right after this with John Kenny, you know, that job they have going on. Yeah, man. It's just I still feel like even though I have 7 years in the industry, I feel like I'm still new, you know. I feel like I'm still behind the curve. You know, I have 7 years in the industry, but I'm 40 years old, you know? So like, I have to be realistic about the goals that I want to accomplish and that time span. And so I just can't let up at this point until TrueWorks and myself are personally aligned, you know, with all of our goals. You know, I'm just going to continue to work hard, you know?
Nice. You mentioned a friend of ours and friend of yours as well, John Kenny, who's always putting out a lot of great content and great educational opportunities. Who else have you, is there anybody else that you've enjoyed seminars with or other training opportunities?
Not so much as the seminars or training opportunities, but just as far as technical experience, you know, like who I've learned from the most, you know, definitely Donald Gaithier. He's the director for the commercial division at Chamberlain now.
Ah, cool.
He's a country boy from New Orleans, you know. So we definitely hit it off, and he gave me a lot of inspiration. You know, seeing somebody with with the same skin color in that position, given that much responsibility, and knowing that the way that the rest of the company leaned and looked towards him, you know, it just really gave me motivation to go out and to really begin to be a leader inside the industry myself.
Nice. Now, since you brought it up, one of the things that you and I have talked a lot about is diversity in roofing and things that way. There are some skin tones that are very common in roofing and some that are not very much. Why do you think that is, and what can we do to change that and reach out?
It's the roofs, man. Black people scared of heights, man. I'm telling you, man. I try to give people jobs all the time, and that's what they tell me. No, it's America, man. I mean, it's been the way it's been for forever. You know what I mean? Like, the people who were given the opportunities to go out and work hard and establish these companies, I mean, they just tend to look the same. Those opportunities weren't always as widely available to other people. You know, given Jim Crow laws and restrictions, redlining, things like that, banks not loaning, you know,
sure.
business owners or small business owners, you know, what they needed to get started. I mean, we're past all that stuff now, you know. We've been able to make huge strides in just simple racial diversity, you know, in the workplace. we may not see a lot of, I know me personally, I haven't seen a lot of diversity on the roof itself. Where I've seen the most diversity at is in the office. You know,
that's a good point.
The labor has stayed the same.
Sure.
You know, I've been in roofing now for 7 years, and I have not had a single, I'm not trying to say anything, you know, this is what it is.
Just is what it is, huh?
I've not had a single white laborer on my workforce in 7 years. Not a grunt, not a cutter, not a craftsman, not nothing. I see project managers, I see safety, I see administration, you know. That's where I see those faces. On the roof itself, on the roof itself, it's a 90% Hispanic workforce.
Sure.
You know, and that's everywhere. That's not just here, that's everywhere. You know, that's not just Texas or California, that's not just Florida, that's what it is. You know,
it does seem to be pretty universal. One of the things that I've found, and tell me if you have seen this as well, is regardless of race, we as leaders in the roofing industry in general have done a bad job of presenting the opportunities to a younger generation as well. People don't look at roofing as a way that they will find themselves making a six-figure income. Have you found that to be true in your experience as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you look at, I mean, there is nothing in that regard besides TV, social media. They want to be athletes, they want to be rappers, they want to be superstars, they want to be clothing designers. Like, media really influences that, and it doesn't give the blue collar jobs that really are the backbone of this country, that really keep the infrastructure in this country together. Those don't get talked about, you know, like those aren't glorified. It would be a lot harder for me to go into my community and try to recruit a young working force for this industry when there's really no representation for them in the front office. And then that's not labor. Labor's not good for anybody. It's not good to anybody anymore, you know? And unless people are working on themselves, then they don't want to work. They don't want to do that for anybody else. People that go to the gym, you know, they'll go to the gym, they'll take care of themselves, you know, they'll put in that type of work. But as far as putting in that type of labor, it's not just a cultural issue, it's an American issue all the way across.
Sure.
Labor in this country just isn't the same because it's not glorified. You know, like we don't see that on TV. We don't see the guy on the roof sweating all day, you know, making sure that the people inside are taken care of or that property's protected, you know. We don't see the electrician, you know, climbing up the light pole to make sure that we have electricity. It's just not glorified in this country. So
no, you're right. When they do show up in sitcoms, they're usually going to have the plumber bud or something that way. We don't have a
something very stereotypical. Yeah, something very stereotypical.
Leaders like you and the group at TrueWorks are a good example of what can be good in this industry, despite all the examples of what can be bad. And you guys have a great company culture. You guys have a lot of fun, even while you're working your butts off and everything. Yeah. Tell me about what goes into creating an environment like that.
I mean, man, Joel and Laura, man, our owners are absolutely amazing. I have no doubt in my mind they are 100% committed to the success of the people in the building. You know, they have a keen understanding that their success ties in directly to ours. So that entails every aspect of life. You know, Joel does a great job of making sure that we are able to take care of ourselves outside of work. You know, they have wonderful programs like, you know, like gym fee reimbursement, yoga reimbursement, you know, or if you're in like judo or taekwondo or something, they make sure that they take care of the people that are taking care of them. So it is very easy to get hyped up about that, you know, because when things happen and when things get hard and the owner offers you, you know, a place on his couch, you know what I'm saying? Like those are the type of real genuine connections that the best companies are built on, you know? And it was very easy. As soon as I walked into the door at TrueWorks, the energy, the enthusiasm, I was completely drawn in. And so I knew I was committed from the beginning, just based off of the interactions with the top.
I have found, and I wonder if you've noticed the same thing, that one of the things that breaks that barrier down is literally just getting to know each other, humanizing people on the other side of that line makes things a lot easier. Have you had any experience with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was talking about with Donald. You know, Donald was the director when I came on. When I came on to Chamberlain after I left Simon, I was demoted. You know, I was no longer a foreman. I came in as a craftsman level 1 to Chamberlain. You know, and Donald just was really like, hey man, I know you're good. He's like, I know you are, but this is a different beast, man. You know,
right.
I need you better, you know, I need you to be able to work a percolator, take it apart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need you to be able to, you know, read measurements and prints. Him coming down from his director position into the labor force, you know, with me specifically, he would come to job sites that I was on. He would call me weekly, you know, like he really took a personal interest in and a personal investment inside me to do well for the company, because he knew the potential that I had, and he knew that he was looking at his potential replacement. You know, when he got ready to go.
So would you say he was a mentor for you? Absolutely.
Him and Chris Janko have been the strongest. Wayne and Saul with Chamberlain are also really big. Wayne is the director of he's the director of roofing now for Chamberlain, the whole roofing side. He took a pretty personal interest in my growth too. So those are the people that have the biggest influence and the biggest mentors.
Nice. So we've kind of gone from where you started off and where you see the industry now. Where would you like to see the industry evolve into, and what part can we play as leaders in the industry in getting it there?
Hey man, technology is making everything a lot easier. You know, we're able to connect and communicate a lot faster. I think that this is the way to include everyone. I think that technology is going to be the biggest tool in creating more inclusivity. I think that it's going to be the biggest tool in getting more voices heard and more things changed in the workplace. I think that companies should do like a better job, like with surveys and things like that inside the workforce, to get changes implemented quickly, and technology is going to be a big part of that.
I love seeing what you guys are doing there. With guys like you and companies like TrueWorks at the helm, I actually am more optimistic than I've ever been about the future of roofing.
Yeah, man, we're heading the right direction, man. 100%. We're just. It's such a good place to work for and be at. We are an all-inclusive company, man. We're the definition of diversity. You know, you walk into the building, there's music playing, like the ambiance is nice, smells good, like our showcase room is beautiful. Our model, you know, our office, you know, has our models in it. I mean, it's we just took a lot of pride in doing it the right way. Joel and Laura and myself, we all come from the same backgrounds in the hospitality industry, you know. Right. So like, man, like the core is like, that's what we're all about, man. We just want to take care of you, you know. We do have our monetary goals in mind, but that's second, you know. Sure. That's absolutely second. If I can talk to somebody, if I can talk to a business owner and actually get to know them, you know, and find some things that I can relate to him with, you know, as being as human, that's bigger than the sell to me, you know, because that relationship means more than money. It always will. It always will, man. Being able to pick up a phone and just have a conversation with somebody about their day, you know, having a different avenue, or being able to call somebody for advice, man, that's priceless, you know. So I think that we all share that same mentality, and we all brought it together, you know. Joel and Laura, you know, they're the founders, you know, but they went out and they found the right people that share that same culture with them. So we're going to continue to do big things in 2023 and beyond, you know.